But what I will say about that trip was we were in a car and we were listening to a band I'd never heard before. And I am not into metal, but there are some bands that I do like that are heavier, like System of a Down, but they're like hybrid. They're not like just heavy screaming all the time. They have their own thing going on. The heaviest band I ever really liked was called Deftones. But he has this CD. He's like, dude, have you ever heard of this band Glassjaw? And I'm like, no, I don't really get into heavy music. He's like, no, dude, this is like a hardcore band with so much melodicism. The dude has just so much soul.
That attracted you.
Oh, it did. Like I said, I grew up listening to R&B and hip hop and stuff, and I loved that kind of music a lot. I always had a love for it. But I was more into like the emo stuff, which was not that kind of style. So I hear this and I'm like, what? This dude is sick. He's so unique. And the music. And that was another game changer for me, was hearing that. Because if you combine like my influences between Jamie Wolford from The Stereo and like Daryl Palumbo from Glassjaw, and then mix some other things with it, that's really what my voice kind of sounds like. I mean, I'm not trying to pigeonhole myself, but I mean, I definitely have a lot of similarity to those singers. So I get back from the Florida trip. I'm waiting tables one night, and Aaron, by the way, Aaron was in my band, Midwest Blue. He calls me one night while I'm waiting tables, and he's like, dude, you remember Josh Geyer? I'm like, remember him? Yeah, I know Josh Geyer. He's like, Josh died, dude. I'm like, what? Josh wrote this one. Josh is dead? Turns out he died from cancer, or so that's what is being said. And I'm like, wow, he beat cancer last time I saw him, because I saw him right when I graduated. We hung out like the day I graduated, and he came to my first show of this band, Midwest Blue, and he played my first show ever, you know, with Aaron at my church in our band for a lock-in that we did. I mean, so I go back with Josh. He wasn't my best friend, but he was. Yeah. We had some times together, and it was more than just a, you know, acquaintance for sure. I mean, he had sleepovers and whatnot. He's a cool dude. Just to give everybody a firm grasp, Josh was the first person, like I had mentioned before, like, I'm not an introvert by any means, but I'm certainly not the type of person to just go talk to strangers out of nowhere. And Josh really got me to come out of my shell. He made me realize there's nothing to fear. You can talk to anybody. Like, just do it. And he was just so funny. And so I attribute a lot of my silliness and a lot of my ability to like just go talk to people based off of just watching Josh and observing Josh and hanging out with Josh. So thanks, Josh, even though you're not here with us. Anyway, I went to the wake, you know, said my goodbyes. It's really sad. That was the first time I ever saw a friend that was, you know, deceased. I mean, he was like 20, you know, so he was the same age as me.
Was that another one of those life is too short kind of moments?
Yeah, well, kind of it was one of those moments, but it was like, man, I kind of wish we would have started a band together. I wish we would have kept in touch more. Like, it was kind of regretful. And I actually remember I didn't have much money in my bank account, but I gave his mom like $100, like $100 bill. I was just like, because Josh just meant so much to me, and I knew that they had so many bills from all the cancer visits. Like, they were not doing well, you know. And by the way, that was the third time that he had cancer.
Right.
Since he was 15.
And Josh had Hodgkin's lymphoma, correct?
Hodgkin's lymphoma, yes.
Hodgkin's lymphoma.
During that time, I was writing acoustic songs, and I was like, you know, there's this band called Dashboard Confessional, for those of you who want to get real emo. He was kind of big at the time, and I was like, I kind of want to do a project like in that open tuning style. I'm just going to make my own record, kind of like the Swiss Army Romance or something, just a bunch of acoustic songs, me singing. And if I can form a band later with it, that'd be cool, but whatever. So I wrote, I don't know, like 7 or 8 songs or something like that, just by myself. And I demoed 2 of them at the same studio that I recorded with Midwest Blue. And I started handing out a couple samplers here and there. Well, one night, I get a call from a friend. Aaron and I are hanging out. And this girl, Lindsay, that we knew, she's like, hey, you guys want to come down to Fox Garden Cafe, this restaurant? It was a Greek place. It was open 24/7. It's just random. We're like, yeah, we don't have anything to do. It's like a weeknight. Neither of us are going to college. We're pretty much losers. So we go to this place.
Not going into debt. That makes you a big loser, you know.
So we go to this restaurant, and Lindsay's like, hey, meet my friend Mike.
This is Mike, the Mike.
Yeah, this is Mike. Daniel knows about Mike. Nobody else really knows about Mike probably listening, unless you're like a friend from Illinois or something. But so Mike has this saran wrap around his new fresh tattoo on his arm. I'm like, tattoo? I don't have any friends with really tattoos, you know? And I look closer at his face. I'm like, oh my gosh, he was in my English class, the only class I passed at MCC. And so I'm like, dude, what's up? And he's like, man, nothing, man. I was doing a band for a while. I heard you're in a band now. Doing pretty well. I'm like, yeah, you know, we're about to release an album on a label from Florida, blah, blah, shooting it. And he's like, yeah, I was in a band and my singer just died.
No way. That was Josh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this I did not know.
Dude, I'm telling you, my life is full of these like anomalies, like these coincidences.
Coincidences is God acting anonymously.
Exactly. And when I say coincidences, I always put them in quotations.
Yes, you did, by the way.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what was your singer's name? He's like, Josh Geyer.
Sorry for making the mistakes, sometimes easy. Sorry for breaking the system, the possibility. Sometimes the weight of the world comes crashing down, and when the pain comes, will you find yourself admitting your defeat? Possibility.
No way. And Aaron's like, dude, Josh, like, because we played in a band with Josh, you know, like when we were in, you know, early high school years. He's like, yeah, I'm looking to like play some more music with people. You guys want to ever jam? All right. Aaron's like, yeah, I kind of want to play bass. I think we just went over and he has all the instruments in his parents' basement. So we start jamming. It didn't go so well at all. His style with me playing electric and then Aaron playing bass, not that anybody was really bad, but just whatever we were trying to create together at that time, at that night, was just awful. I kind of remember sort of what it sounded like, and
The look he's got in his face right now is that he's tried very hard to forget what they were trying, what was coming out that night.
so we pretty much threw in the towel with that idea. Well, at least Aaron and I did. Mike calls me a week later randomly. So he comes over and plays Halo with our band after we practice. And he's like, dude, you want to jam? Sure. How do you feel about me bringing my acoustic guitar over while you drum? Because, see, Mike's a metal drummer. So he's playing like double kick. I have all these acoustic songs I'm writing. And it would be awesome to like kind of see what it sounds like with somebody else. Because I had tried to jam them with Aaron one time. It just didn't really flow with the acoustic thing. I brought my acoustic over and we jammed, and it was just like magic. His style and his fills, and it was just perfect complementary style for what I was going for, but unexpected because I wasn't expected like double kick. Totally different. It was interesting. It was an interesting hybrid. Anyway, but that's how I met Mike, and that's how I formed the band Dorm Life, which was intended to be just a side project. I will just say this. Mike, I'm not picking on you, but you had quite a temper. Mike was kind of a hothead, and actually his initials are MAD. Michael A. DeBoer, what up? So anyways, I really liked jamming with Mike, and we started to play some shows and stuff, but I was like, nah, Midwest Blues my thing. Like, I've been trying at this. And I couldn't imagine taking it seriously, but yet I still loved creating the music. So I'm like, it'll probably be just like a studio project with occasional shows, you know, just a side project. Along that time, Mike's like super driven, and he finds this bass player who just so happens to be teaching bass lessons to students at this music shop down the road. One of the people ends up being somebody that I'm friends with, this kid Adam Siska. I wasn't like super tight friends, but he was forming a band at the time too. This guy's name was Phil, who ends up becoming our bass player. His influences are like Jaco Pastorius. For those who know who that is, he's like a bass legend. This guy was just sick on the bass. My friend Adam would go in and, hey, this is Saves the Days Through Being Cool. This is kind of like, I want to learn how to play this. He'd be like, come on. Like, you want to learn how to play pop punk, you know, or whatever. It was just kind of funny. Our first show we ever played was just Mike and I, and we played with a band called Farewell Night in this little like VFW type hall. Funny enough, I just had to mention it. The guitarist from Farewell Night went on to form a band called The Academy Is with my friend Adam, who I just mentioned.
Really?
And the singer of the band Farewell Night went on to play bass for a band called 504 Plan that I was mentioning earlier, which were nobody. But then after
The Academy Is have a stint as kind of they were on the rise.
Yeah, they were big for a long time. I mean, they definitely had a stint, and they were on a major label. But that's another story, anyways. So, just a side tangent. 504 Plan asked me to be their new bass player that summer of like 2003 when we released our. Yeah, they wanted somebody who could sing backups. They're like, dude, you could play bass, right? I'm like, I could, but I was just, my heart was in my band.
Right.
And I had a side project on top of that. Nick's like, you know, you got a really good voice, and you know, if you want to try out, it'd be cool. No, I'm okay. I passed it up, and so John Walker from Farewell Night joins 504 Plan. What I was just saying. Check this out. John Walker goes on to be in Panic at the Disco, which was a huge band that you don't know about. I mean, I know they went gold at least. They had like at least 4 singles on MTV. I mean,
dude, okay, that I understand. It starts to make.
Well, they're still a band. I mean, they're still doing it. They're not probably as big as they were, but not that I could have been in Panic at the Disco, but it's like one of those things I look back, man, that's cool.
I wonder what would have happened.
I wonder what could have been. No, I'm sure I didn't have the tight emo jean look enough for Panic at the Disco or the makeup.
Someday, guys, we're going to be at a conference and we're going to have Sam dress up for a day in his old apparel. Tight emo jeans.
I didn't see, that's the thing, like I didn't do that whole thing.
Oh,
that was like just coming up on the rise like at the time, and I just did not like that look. And I never went for that look. It became more of an image thing later, like the emo thing. But anyway, at this time the band Fall Out Boy releases their Fueled by Ramen album. And I never took them seriously. I was like, what? Like Fall Out Boy, whatever. You know, they didn't sound that good. I had their split and their first demo, like, and all that. And I was like, they're not really that good. But then they released this album. I'm like, is this the stereo?
Like that smoke, yeah, what for giving up on me? What does closer kill you sooner than my expectations? To my favorite liar, to my favorite score.
Like, I thought it was Jamie Wolford singing. I'm like, seriously, this is Patrick Stump? Compared to when I used to watch them as a 5-piece. So I was like, whoa, just combine like Newfound Glory with the stereo, and that's their first album. I was really impressed with his voice.